first of all, I want to shout out those that reached out to me personally. Just we received a lot of love on that episode. I think people liked seeing us in person together. We got a lot of love on the thumbnail and just the set design. Shout out yourself for that. Um, but yeah, just looking, I felt like I just right before the storm hit, I left and came back to Chicago. So, thoughts and prayers to everyone in the Houston area. For those that don't have power, I'm sure going through it right now with the heat. So, hoping everyone stays safe. But, that kind of gets us right into our first topic today. So I saw this stuff about the Whataburger app, becoming a tool for those that were trying to get an understanding on where the power outages were. So apparently, like the app for like the electrical company didn't have like a diagram, like a map layout that they can reference. So the Whataburger app saw 30,000 downloads the second day that Hurricane Beryl made landfall. So all these people were just signing up for the Whataburger app to use this feature. So I thought it was interesting, to kind of bring up. It's like, a fast food application is being leveraged to use, to locate, to understand where the power outages are and what areas of Texas, are getting power back. And, Whataburger is Texas based. They've gone on record, advocating for their people. So I thought it was pretty cool for them to step up and to kind of fill that void of what these people were missing.
It was dope to see. So, for those who might have not been in a hurricane before or been in a situation like that, right after this storm basically ended around 3, 4 o'clock, and even though I'm in Texas, I had a craving for In and Out. Right, so I need to get some In and Out. I don't know why. I just wanted some In and Out. So I decided to pick up a friend of ours to go to In and Out. And as I'm driving through the city surveying the damage, the only stuff is open is Whataburger and Raisin Canes. And I'm like, wait, are these the only people who think to have a generator at their locations? Is that like a prerequisite in the franchising of these restaurants? Literally lines around the corner. No street lights, no stoplights, no power, but all the Whataburgers are open. And not only that, they had Wi-Fi in the buildings. Like, these became community centers in mere hours. That's insane to see. And it just shows how horrible urban planning is, how cities are constructed, and what's the priorities for uh, our communities. So, one thing uh, that's so interesting also about this infrastructure is how many people don't know how to drive, or they don't know what a four-way stop is, right? So that's a big thing. No four-way stops. Everyone going to Raising Cane's and Whataburger. It was interesting to see um, in these situations how cities are designed. You see it with Flint, Michigan. You see it with New Orleans during Katrina and other catastrophes. You see the same thing. This it's not even the storm. It's not even the Category 5 is the issue. It's how our cities are built, how the geography is, and that plays out across the world. We're just hearing about our situations, but things like this happen elsewhere as well. But it was cool to see a Texas staple be the backbone of our community for a couple days. I won't be eating no damn Whataburger, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won't be going there. I just feel like I don't. When it comes to fast food, I only want my fast food from old people. I don't want young people working at my fast food place. I only like old people. They just make it with a little bit more love, a little bit more care. And if there's no old people at the Whataburger, I may just I'm not really going. So, but that was it was cool to see for sure.
Wow, yeah, and apparently, this wasn't the first time that a fast food chain app was used to locate or to track power outages. Apparently, in 2011, Hurricane Irene, Waffle House Index was used. So interesting that like the company like Centerpoint or all the other electrical companies aren't kind of taking a notice to this, and they need to step up that application and then the UI to have the app for people to reference. But yeah, I like how you mentioned that regardless of what you may think of Whataburger as an establishment and their food and shit, they stepped up and they became these communities, right? They had people showing up to eat, to use their Wi-Fi, to download their application to know where the power outage is. So yeah, it's cool to see. Texas based, they're stepping up. But yeah, we're glad to know that you were safe and your area didn't get it too bad, but still stay safe and hopefully we're not seeing another storm your way in like 2 weeks. When was the last one? And I think we referenced the last one. It was like the tornadoes and shit like a month ago.
Yeah, yeah, there was a couple. It was a heavy rainstorm, then some tornadoes. Uh, the month before, man, these weather machines, man, that has to be it, bro. It has to be weather machines. But you also know what's crazy about this topic? This happened also before. You brought up the Waffle House thing, but there's also a tracking of McDonald's uh, ice cream machines. You could, because McDonald's always the 10 minutes before closing they want to cut off the ice cream machine, right? Like there's also some tracking like that. It's funny that these large companies, these oil and gas, these electricity companies refuse to invest in design. That's essentially what it comes down to, which is understandable. The way a grid system is built or a cable system built is very complex, and they're literally always putting out fires. There's always an outage, regardless. It could be a sunny, perfect day, and there's still going to be an outage. There's going to be ingress and egress of waves that are causing issues. But it's funny how just tracking hamburgers could be so important in times like that. That's great, bro. It's just a dope story to see. Until the next one, the new community center, Whataburger.
Whataburger, yeah. Well, kind of along the same block here, with the storm brought loss of power, loss of internet, right? Millions across the state of Texas. Yourself being one of them. I know, we work together daily, so we were communicating, understanding like where your power was at, where your internet was at. Um, Starlink, they just released the Starlink Mini for anyone in the U.S. To roam, and the whole thing is like you can fit it in your backpack and just set it up wherever. So just like the availability, accessibility to the internet is something that I definitely kind of feel passionate about. I think everyone in the world, where no matter where they are, right? You're in the rapids, you're in the forest, you're in the wherever you are, you should be able to access internet with all the satellites fucking in our orbit right now. There's just no explanation why you shouldn't be able to get online. So um this being what it is kind of a little costly. However, I think that with that cost brings accessibility no matter where you are. So I just think it's pretty cool to see. The only experience I had with Starlink, as you know, before I was in Houston to film that episode with you, I was on a cruise and I paid for the internet for a few days while I was on the boat, and their service was through Starlink. So you're in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. Starlink right up there or whatever. So that was my first experience. No complaints, decent speeds. So I just think this is like favored to the digital nomads, right? The wonders, the explorers, the adventurers, the backpackers, the ones that want to just live their life fucking hiking and camping and doing all the off grid shit, having this just putting in your backpack to access the internet, it's definitely a new age thing, and it's something to just admire, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's definitely a cool gadget to have. I mean, man, for digital nomads, for people who's they're living in that van life, to have something like this would be dope. I would love to see a use case for this, just for just dudes like you and I in a big city. Like, how would this work? How would this work with VPNs? Um, is it something uh, that I can get rid of my current service and just have this? I know it's kind of expensive, but what isn't expensive these days? I think the price on it was $150 a month for unlimited data. Uh, with the It says option for pay per gigabyte for in motion use. I don't know what they do. You know what they mean by in motion use?
I don't. If I had to take a guess here, maybe like you're moving place to place, like you're moving, like you have the Starlink on your person and you're moving. I have no idea. I could be completely wrong. Uh, so the 150 per month, I guess, isn't that steep. I mean, right now, I'd pay what AT&T's like $90 a month, so it's not that far off. The actual hardware is $599. I guess that's kind of hefty, but again, you're paying for the ability for this to be so small and to it's a router in it inside of it. So um, you mentioned van life. I'm curious. I've always thought about this. I think people around our age kind of go through this. It's like the idea of what van life would be. My question to you is, do you think you could do something like that? Do you think that if you were provided, the necessities, you got hooked up with one of those custom vans you see with like the, cabinets, get a little desk set up. Could you do that? Is that something you'd be interested in?
I think I can. I'm definitely down for it. I do lean more towards um, just the going overseas aspect over the van life. Because I just definitely see myself just wanting to get a hotel room at some point. I think that's just uh, gonna be an option, especially guys like me. The ladies love me. Just only so many women gonna be impressed with the van, right? So uh, that comes to mind. But I definitely, I feel like this van life is something that people should just experience for maybe 6 months. This isn't new. Back in the day, they used to have RVs and shit. I just think it'll be cool if you could afford to. Why not? I think I definitely would get with it for a short period of time for sure. I don't know about long term, especially I see a lot of these people. They're doing the taking a shower like in the doors or having to go to like a gym. Uh, my shower time is my me time, my self care time. So I need like all the amenities. I might be in there 45 minutes an hour. That's the type of guy I am. So I don't know if I can just be, on the side of the road bathing and open the doors and just bathing. That's not my type, you know. And I'm a 2 shower a day type guy most days, right? So that's going to be kind of odd when the state troopers see that, right? So I don't know, bro. I'm down to try it though. I'm for sure. I'm down to try that.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, like the kind of sort of like hippie like activity is timeless. Like it was once, then it will continue to be. I just think it's becoming more attainable with devices like the Starlink Mini. And I've watched videos of like these van setups where they have like the solar panel set up, the Starlink set up. They just set it up in the forest or wherever they set up. Now, that life does come with the fact that you need to wash your feet in a Planet Fitness gym, shower or whatever. And most of the time, I'm kind of just assuming here, if you're off grid and shit, you're gonna have to become more comfortable with the idea of not showering twice a day. And I'm right there with you. That would be hard for me to accept. Like you'd have to go, every other day or something like that, depending on like how easy you can access a Planet Fitness or YMCA or whatever you want to do. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I think like again, like the Starlink Mini and just generally accessibility to the internet and digital nomads, that life, I agree it's like a phase for most people. I'd love to see like a written up study on like how long those ventures last for most people that go into it. Like they sell all their belongings. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get in a van and travel the world. I'd be willing to bet that most of them don't last a calendar year. I'm sure it's hard as hell. This come from someone, I don't know if I'd be able to last 6 months. So I would love to see the world and to not be, constrained into one little box. But then again, like I love my safe space. I love the apartment in the city. I like taking my coffee walks. I'd have to give up a lot to live that life. And so I definitely think that it would just be a 3 month thing where after 3 months I'd be like, yeah, I need my space. I need my own shit. So, um, you know, shout out those who are on the road right now and doing their thing. All power to you. But maybe look into the SpaceX or the Starlink Mini. Get yourself some good internet and pull up the brick top.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I mean, it's like you were saying, it's a little expensive, $5.99. I think that's what a PlayStation 5 or something, right? Like, I don't know how much video games cost, but yeah. But speaking of van life and all this, um, one thing I thought about, shout out Remote Year. Remote Year is a travel service where they basically plan overseas trip for a year, 4 months, 1 month. You can go overseas. And I thought about, when I read this article, I thought about that possible experience. And the second thing I thought about was when you're traveling, your data being secure, connecting to all these coffee shops, these random people's fucking internet. Like, it's kind of, so that's why I brought up the question, like, can I use this with a VPN? Like, Starlink is kind of, is giving Evil Empire vibes just a little bit. So, like, where's my data going? And sure enough, you sent this article to me about this AT&T leak that just happened. And what's your thoughts on that? I don't have AT&T, but it sounds pretty insane. Um, what people are going through with this.
Yeah, so I know I have AT&T, so it does kind of scare me a little bit. However, I think that, moving forward is just now more than ever, it's just more important to just get on Signal, get on Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever you favor. Just get your shit off the main carriers. You know, Again, like I'm not texting, just like super important shit. Like nothing that I'm fearing to be leaked or nothing like that. Like if they want to look at my text to see, I'm asking people if they want coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like if they want to read that, go ahead. But uh, I think it's just general. Moving forward, it's just like you got to be on these encrypted apps. Just get off the main carriers. This is going to continue to happen, right? Like in 3 months, something's going to happen to Verizon and so on. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this? I know you said you didn't have AT&T, but just in general, like for carriers and data leaks, does this kind of rub you the wrong way, or how do you feel about this?
Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely rubs me the wrong way because, like you say, you're just texting about coffee, but then, they don't need to know your coffee schedule. They don't need to know your interest in coffee. Um, while, we can go to apps like Signal, Telegram, maybe WhatsApp. I think we're entering into a stage where there's an overconsumption of just being on the internet, being on these devices, giving too much information. I've secretly, I'm gonna this may be this brick stuff might be my only social media soon. Something I've always fantasized about was just disappearing and only having one place where you could find me if you were to look for me. And that's becoming more apparent that that might be a better life. Um, it's just so much data and information that we put out on the internet. Like, I don't know if you had a MySpace page. I had a MySpace page. Where is that? I had a Flickr page. Where is that? Every app you sign up for, every phone you had, you switched numbers, profiles you don't use anymore, comments on stuff. You know, they on Twitter, they just hid the likes. We talked about that last time, but that information is still somewhere in some data center there, right? So, um, and then even not to get too much into what we do, but even if there's people who have apps where it has a EMR, has they're making medical purchases, aesthetic purchases. It's just so much data beyond just the text message that I think we're building our own profiles. We're giving advertisers, because when this information leaks, what's going to happen? They're going to sell that to Nestle and Kellogg and repurpose that to send targeted ads to you know just do weird stuff, right? We're literally like being tempted at all times. Like, I just got a Uber Eats notification right now to Smoothie King. I will be going to Smoothie King after this call, after this thing, right? I've also been to Smoothie King like maybe twice in the past 2 weeks because they're another place that has power, right? So it's just we have to figure out as a community, as people, as society, how to reel back the information and take back ownership of our data and what we share with these corporations. I think is vital.
Yeah, no, that was strong. I do agree. I'm curious, like, what steps can I just take? I know I'm kind of, you know, I got a lot of work to do, right? A lot of cleanup to do in terms of just like my digital footprint. I think there's stuff that I want to be presented online, but I think there's a lot that I can kind of like clean up and preserve and just like remove. I mean, I don't know, like there were because I agree there was a time where like I fantasized about the idea of like being this like mystery online or like not even being online and just kind of working under the radar. However, I just think like with my ambitions and passions on what I want to move to in my career, and you could probably relate to this too, is like we kind of need to be online in some way because we want to, we're hosting this show, we're running a design agency. There is going to be like a, baseline required. However, I do agree. I think that there's like on the personal side, I think there's a lot that I can kind of, keep closer or just completely remove, And your comment about the Uber Eats thing just made me laugh. I mean, that was perfect. I just got one today. Don't forget happy hour. Save 25 to 50% on select eats between 2 5 p.m. It's because I opened this app like last night, like to figure out like to order something for pickup or something like that. It's like, it's pulling me in. It knows I want something in the area. It's just like, it's something as simple as that, like a digital footprint. You're giving that application some sort of data, some sort of information about yourself. And most people, the masses, I would argue that aren't as thoughtful about it like yourself. You're analyzing all these little moves about how an Uber Eats app is persuading you to get Smoothie King, and you're not going to push back because Smoothie King fucking sounds really good now. So, but it's the principle, right? It's the like like what your pushback was about my comment about the coffee. You're right. They shouldn't. There's no reason that they need to know that I'm getting coffee. As simple and as minuscule as that data may be, it's mine, and it's only should be relevant to me and ownership under me. So, uh, yeah, it's scary, and I think that we need to take every step we can moving forward to preserve our digital footprint, to keep our shit secured. And yeah, I mean, again, there's only so much we can do with different accounts under these big corporations, but we're gonna continue to do our best. So, um, yeah, well, that's our time for today. That was a great one. Talking about different shit. I know. Hopefully the weather's better over by you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the scientists they're taking a couple weeks off. I think we'll be good. So yeah, let's go give our data collectors more information. I'm gonna go get in the car, connected to Apple. Apple CarPlay. That's gonna see where I'm driving to. I'll go to Smoothie King and I'll listen to some little Yachty. And in 6 months, I'll see Yachty in a Smoothie King commercial. You can go get a coffee, go to Dunkin'. Uh, you know, fucking Roy McIlroy will be in, in the goddamn commercial, and they'll target us some more. So yeah, that's Bird Talk. Hey, that's what we're doing. We're getting to it.
That's a good pull, Rory. That's a funny pull.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you everyone for showing up to another episode of Brick Talk. Again, these are dropping every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central Time, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Again, thank you for all the love on the last episode. We really enjoyed that one. Being in person, definitely a real good vibe. Just seeing Melton and being in person with him, chopping it up. So we're already looking forward to that next day, whether it be in Houston again or in Chicago. So, but until then, keep tuning into these ones hosted remote. We appreciate everyone for tuning in, and yeah, everyone have a great rest of your day. Later.
So.